During my recuperation, I'm certainly not out climbing hills on my bicycle, so I'm taking this opportunity to review a couple of e-bikes and an e-bike trailer hitch. In the past, I've reviewed 2 e-bikes from the HOVSCO company, and I was really impressed with their quality. Well, they sent me another bike that is very different. It's got a 1500-watt motor. It's a moped-style bicycle, and it's called the HOVSCO HovGtrs. Got a top speed, they claim, of 30 miles an hour. Uh-oh. So let's go inside and unbox it. Now I need to get it out of there. Well, we're getting down to it. I think I'm going to take that battery out before I take the bike out and put the seat on and flip it upside down. I didn't want to bore you with watching me turn the wrenches to put the bike together, but now it's fully assembled. Well, now I want to take this bike out for a ride, but the first thing I have to do is unlock the bike and set it for Class 3 so that we can get that 30 miles an hour, maybe. So the bike ships to you in a Class 2 configuration. To unlock it to a Class 3 to get the optimal speed out of the bike, you go to the HOVSCO app and then you hit binding. So once the bike's connected, you can see that it's Class 2, unlock Class 3. All I do is hit this button. Have the usual terms and conditions, I agree, and it's now a Class 3. So now we can go take this bike out for a ride. So it's a little chilly out this morning, got my gloves on, and we're gonna do our first big hill test to see how this bike performs. I've got it on power level 5. I'm going to use the throttle only mode and see how we do on this hill. "10 miles an hour, 15 miles an hour. It's an 8 to 10% grade. 14 miles an hour. So that's not too bad. Made it to the top. Shock absorbers work pretty nicely. Cruising along at 20 miles an hour in power level 5. I know it can go a lot faster. This bike says it may reach speeds of 30 miles an hour. We'll see when I get on a nice flat open road. The bike really has a nice smooth ride with the dual shock absorbers, one on the fork and one under the seat. I'm going to do the speed test now. Power level 5, right now we're 20 miles an hour. See how fast we can take it. 25. 28 miles an hour. A little slower than the claimed speed, but that's okay. I mean, it's not bad. 27 miles an hour, for my money, is fast enough on an e-bike. You don't have to go that fast. You can cruise along at 12, 14 miles an hour if you'd like. So now we're going to do the ultimate hill test. I'm at the base of a 1 mile long hill, 6 to 8, a little bit of 10%, but it's pretty grueling, and we're going to see how much battery we use. Right now I've gone about 7 miles and I've used 1 bar, so that's the equivalent of about 20% of the battery. So let's see how many bars we lose going up this hill. Well, the footage going up the big hill didn't come out, so I'm doing it again. From the bottom to the top, 1 mile. Here we go, power level 5, 19 miles an hour, maintaining 16 miles an hour in a pretty steep area. Down to a 6% grade, and I'm doing an incredible 24 miles an hour. I'm impressed. So I reached the top. I was very impressed with the speed I was able to maintain coming up that hill. 16 miles an hour, 20, 22. No other e-bike has been able to come close to that. So does this bike have a lot of power? You bet it does. So now I'm going to leave the side of the road and make my way home. By the way, I only used 1 bar of power, so that's impressive also. I still have a lot of battery left. Just cruising along at 25 miles an hour. Very bumpy road, and these shocks work really good. By the way, this bike has turn signals. Turn on my left turn signal. And now we're going to do a little bit of urban riding as we make our way down to the ball field. Let's go. Takes a while to get used to the controls on a new e-bike. Take a right at the stop sign. Rides real nice on the grass. Well, I made it to the ball field okay. Now let's go over the details of this bike. Here's the bike. It's made by HOVSCO, and it's a model HOVGtrs. It's a 1500 watt moped style electric bike. However, it's actually a 750 watt motor that peaks out at 1500 watts when you're really putting it under strain, like going up a big hill. One of the first things you notice is that big LED headlight. In the daylight, it's pretty bright. They tell me it's got brake lights. Let's see if they work. You double tap the button and your blinkers go on. Like all HOVSCO bikes, it has a very nice array of buttons, and I'm going to go over those when we get back into the shop. It has very nice brake levers, and these brakes work really well. The hand grips are just common rubberized hand grips. They're comfortable, but I think I'm going to opt for going on Amazon and getting some ergonomic hand grips that give you a little pad here to rest the palm of your hand. The control panel in the cockpit is the standard HOVSCO control panel. I'm going to go over that when we're back in the shop. To get your forward movement, there's a throttle here that you push down, and depending on what power setting, you'll attain a certain speed for that power setting. Now on this side, you've got your shifter control for your Shimano 7-speed derailleur. The top button will get you into a lower gear, and the bottom button will shift you down into a higher gear. There's no bell on this bike. Usually HOVSCO bikes have a bell, but you can get one for about $7 on Amazon. So the handlebars connect to the stem right here, and you can loosen up these screws if you want to tilt the handlebars to be closer to you while you're riding, depending on your height and everything else. These front shock absorbers work out quite nicely. They absorb all the bumps that I've gone over so far. However, they're not adjustable, and frankly, they really don't need to be. They're just perfect. Front fender is made out of plastic, and it's pretty robust. The tires are 20-inch by 4-inch wide. And one of the nice things about having wide tires is that you can run very low air pressure, and that also cushions the ride. And it also helps if you ride in the grass like I just did, or you go down a gravel road. Gives you that extra traction. The tires are mounted on aluminum wheels. They don't have traditional spokes, so you don't have to worry about breaking a spoke or tightening them up. We're running a 7-speed Shimano derailleur in the back. The front, you have one chain ring, and it also has this nice guard around it so that you don't get your pants greasy. The bike has traditional e-bike pedals with little nubs on them to keep your shoes from moving around, and also reflectors. The rear shock is very nice. It attaches to the frame up here, and then the rear triangle of the frame, which pivots right there and allows the back part of the bike to go up and down as you hit the bumps. Rear plastic fender that's on there tight, and it's very robust. The seat is a motorcycle style seat, not your traditional one that you'd see on a regular bicycle, and it's got a lot of cushion to it. I found it to be pretty comfortable for this kind of a bike. The rear rack could be a little longer. It's only about 7 inches long from here to here, so I really don't know how useful it is. It's got 2 holes in there, so maybe you could bungee a bag that would go from the back of the seat onto here. But today I'm just using a backpack. I think they could have made that rear rack a little longer. Now let's talk about how you remove the battery. You put the key in and you turn it counterclockwise and it unlocks the battery. And then you just lift it out. And if you want, you can charge it on a bench right here. It has an on-off switch, which you need to remember to turn on before you ride the bike. Put the battery back in, you just reverse the process. You put it in, turn the key, take the key out, and that battery is not going anywhere. By the way, the battery is a 54.6 volt and 3 amp battery. And I don't know if you can see it, but right in here, you press this switch and you can tell if the battery is full or not. So I guess you'd use that once the battery is removed from the bike, because there's a battery indicator on the controller. And when you're back home, if you want to charge the battery when it's on the bike, you just open up this little tab and you stick your adapter cable into that hole. And if the battery is depleted, it will get a full charge in about 5 hours. So who is this bike for? Well, you know, it's really made for a short person if you want to pedal it. If I try to pedal it, and I'm going to show you that in a few minutes, I look like a clown in the circus, because it's a moped style e-bike. It's made for riding across town, maybe going down to the grocery store and back and saving the gas in your car. But it really doesn't strike me as a bicycle. That's why they call it a moped. It's throttle only, and in my morning ride, I didn't pedal at all because I can't. I'm only 5'8" with a 30-inch inseam, and I'm not really tall, but even at my height, I can't pedal this bike. Is that a downside? Well, it would be if you considered it a traditional e-bike. However, it's a moped. And it's a pretty nice one at that. Now let's ride the bike around this field, and you'll get a chance to see what it would be like if I tried to pedal this bike. It's not pretty. Well, that was really something, wasn't it? I just want to make a comment that if you are short enough to pedal, or if you feel comfortable pedaling this bike, it will give you a little boost depending on which power setting that you're in. So it will give you additional speed if you're comfortable doing that. If you stuck with me this long, what we're going to do now is go over the control panel on this HOVSCO HovGtrs. It's the same as the other 2 HOVSCO bikes that I have reviewed. I want to let you see how it's applied to this bike. So here's the control panel. The blue bars up here indicate how much battery you have left, and right now it's 100% charged. Underneath that is the power settings, where you can change 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And over here is your trip meter. And there's a button that you push that can change from trip to odometer. And you see I have 24 miles on this bike. And that's really all there is to it, to the display. Now the buttons to operate the display have a plus and a minus. The plus would be used to go to a higher power setting, and the minus obviously to a lower power setting. If you double click on the right arrow, then your right turn signal would go on, and here is the left arrow for your left turn signal. This button will turn on your headlight. Here's your on-off switch, and then on the top of the button there's a large I which indicates information, and you would hit that button to toggle between your odometer and your trip odometer. So that's really all there is to this simple operation of this bike. I've gone over everything else when we were outside. So I have a few final thoughts about this bike. First of all, you may have noticed when I was riding, the screen on the display was flickering. Well, that's because of incompatibility with the electronics in this bike with my camera. There's nothing wrong with the bike. In video reviews by others that you watch, you will see the same situation occurring. Well, it's a moped style bike, isn't it? It's very fast. However, you can't pedal it unless you're very short. You know, I actually could pedal the bike, but I couldn't do it for very long because it's very uncomfortable. However, saying that, I think it's a good bike. It's very good quality for one. And if you're looking for a moped style bike, and there are a few on the market, HOVSCO can't be beat. They have quality, they have a 2-year warranty, and there are dealerships around the country. You might want to check and see how close one is to you. And if you're interested in purchasing one of these bikes, there's a link in the description below and you'll get a bit of a discount. So thank you for taking the time to watch this review. I know for one, I can't wait to get out there and start pushing my pedals and going up hills. But that's still going to have to wait for quite a few more weeks because the recuperation for my broken hip is really taking longer than I thought it would. And you can't rush these things. So thanks again. I hope you have a great week. And as always, happy pedaling. Shock absorbers work pretty nicely.